Hey guys, Matt.
And Jordan.
And we're back to more Catch Pillow Talk.
Sarah's here as well, but she's just playing Unravel in the background.
More
so
rage.
You might hear her getting angry.
Let's hope so.
Alright, so this time we've got a couple of topics to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Should we start off with David Hayter?
Sure.
So, people that have played Metal Gear, and I guess not everyone knows, but people that do know this sort of stuff, know that David Hayter has been the voice of Solid Snake since 1998. It's nearly 20 years, Matt.
That's pretty good. That's a good gig.
He voiced Solid Snake, MGS1, MGS2, and MGS4. When the third game came out, he voiced Big Boss, who, this is spoilers, by the way, for MGS3 and all that sort of jazz, but Solid Snake is a clone of Big Boss, who's in MGS3. And he voiced him as well, which is sort of silly. But then, not in MGS4, he didn't voice him in MGS4. But then, early in MGS5's development, when Ground Zeroes was coming out, he was replaced by good old Kiefer Sutherland.
No.
I was trying to mess up the name on purpose and still say it, but then I messed it all up entirely. He was replaced by Kiefer Sutherland, and Kojima did it because he wanted someone that could do the facial acting as well, because they're doing motion capture and all that jazz. And Hayter was kind of bummed about it because they didn't handle it all that well. Did you ever hear about how they did it?
Not really.
Basically, they were teasing MGS5 like way back when, and everyone was going off about it, and then Hayter was like, "Oh, surely you're gonna call me up soon and ask me if I want to do it."
Yeah.
And then they didn't, and he ended up calling them and being like, "What's going on? Do you need me to come in and like do some testing?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're not gonna use you this time around. Sorry."
That's
about
like
that.
the opposite of what happened with the new Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be talking about the Spider-Man movie later.
You can fill me in on whatever that is.
Basically, he, like, you know how it's this new kid. Like,
what the hell's his name? I think I've got it just here somewhere. Oh, I closed it. I may have closed it. No, it's Tom Holland.
Tom
That's
Holland,
it.
yes. So he wasn't even like super trying to get into acting. It was
He was
just
like a was he theatre?
Yeah. He was on Broadway or something. But doing Billy Elliot. And so he auditioned a bunch for Spider-Man. And it was like all these other young guys that were auditioning for it as well. And he had like agents and whatever. And he was just like waiting, and it was like ages, like 3 months or something. And then they were like, he saw on their Facebook.
Oh, I think I've heard this.
They're like, "Oh, we've
done the casting."
Yeah, we've finished the casting.
And he thought he missed it.
Yeah,
I've heard this.
No, they had put out an article. They're like, "This is who it's gonna be," and he was like, "Oh," and he's like, "Oh, this is." He like shut his phone off. He's like, "Oh, this is a bit too painful." But he's like, "No, I gotta read it. I gotta find out who it was." So he like, opened it up and looked, and he saw it was him, and he was just like, "What the?" He, like, freaked out and like called his manager.
Oh, nice! That's awesome. Anyway, basically, he got the news broken to him pretty badly.
Yeah.
His role of 20 years, or nearly 20 years, was over. But that was about the end of it. Everyone was like, "Oh, Hayter's not going to be in it." But then there was heaps of theorists that were saying like, "Oh, it's not the real Big Boss in MGS5. The real Big Boss is going to be at the end, voiced by David Hayter." And this was before Ground Zeroes came out as well. So people were like, David Hayter's going to voice him in Ground Zeroes, and then it's going to be Kiefer Sutherland in Phantom Pain, and then it's when you're going to realise that it's a body double. And I was like...
Yeah.
And then Ground Zeroes came out, I was like, it's still Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah.
What are you going to do now? But anyway, pretty much 3 years since then passed. That's how long it took for MGS to come out after that. 3 years passed, and nobody ever heard much from Hayter about it until now.
Yeah.
After the game's come out. Well, I guess 4 years now since the game really started kicking off development. Anyway, game came out, and Hayter recently was interviewed about his feelings, especially because of the whole Kojima fallout with Konami thing. He could finally say something about it. Apparently, Kojima wanted to replace Hayter as early as MGS3, when it was Big Boss and not Solid Snake. He wanted to replace Hayter. He actually wanted to replace him with Kurt Russell. I think that would have been sick. It would have made a lot of sense as well. Yeah, and then also, he made him re-audition. This is something I didn't mention to you before. He made him re-audition for the part of Old Snake for MGS4, which also sort of makes sense.
Piece of crap!
Thank you, Sarah. Well, it's a different character. Technically, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
Can you pull that one to the left, maybe?
I'm going to keep this in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Let me just finish reading what I've written here. Hayter feels resentful about the whole situation, which I can understand because they didn't handle it great when they told him he wasn't in it. They should have called him up before they announced the game and said to him, "Oh, sorry, man, we're not pulling you in for this one."
Yeah.
But he's resentful about the situation, so he doesn't want to work with Kojima ever again, even though he's now independent. And he doesn't want to play Metal Gear Solid 5 at all because he says it would be 60 hours of humiliation. He just would not be able to handle it. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
So... This is my reasoning when they first announced that Kiefer Sutherland was doing Big Boss instead now. They first said that it was because of the facial animations and all that sort of stuff. My reasoning is that it doesn't make sense. Even though Solid Snake's a clone of Big Boss, he's not even an identical clone, he's like partial.
Yeah.
And if you look at Liquid Snake, he does not have the same voice. He has some British voice. And if you look at Solidus, who is a perfect clone of Big Boss, he does not have the same voice. So it's like, why does Solid Snake and Big Boss have the same voice all this time? It doesn't make much sense to have them be the same voice, especially if they need to appear in the same scene together. Matt is... I keep looking at Matt to see what his opinion is, but he's just distracted by Unravel.
I'm trying to gesture what to do, so I'm not distracting... I mean, I'm not stopping the episode. That's why I wasn't saying anything to him.
I wanted to say that because it's just funny because it's just you there
Jump
going...
to the left! Try that. Anyway.
Yeah, it just makes sense to me to have two different voice actors. Hence why they had two different voice actors in MGS4. Spoilers for that as well. But yeah, Big Boss is in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes sense that they wanted him to re-audition. Sarah almost got it. She's losing it.
Give some help.
Just give back the control, Sarah.
No, I can do it.
Okay. It makes sense they wanted him to re-audition when doing Big Boss for MGS3 because Big Boss and Solid Snake are two very different characters in their own rights. Like, Solid Snake's very, like, cold-hearted and not at all... Well, he has emotion in some of his stuff, but in a lot of stuff he's just... There you go, you made it. Yes. Sarah finally did it. He's not really the same. He's a lot more cold-hearted than Big Boss. He's a very different person, so to have him played by the same person, he'd have to give an entirely different performance.
Yeah, because like I didn't even like pay attention to the story when I started playing them, and I thought it was just all the same character.
Well, when the first trailers came out for MGS3, they had Pliskin, the Pliskin character model, as a stand-in on the MGS2 engine, and then they changed the engine over and like put in the new character and stuff. People started to connect it. They were like, "This is a different time period," and they were looking at it. And eventually, became Kojima and all that revealed that it was actually Cold War era, and people were like, "What the hell's going on? Is this like a time warp Solid Snake? Like, what's happening? Is this a simulation? Blah blah blah." Because everyone was paranoid about simulations after MGS2. Yeah. Which, by the way, everyone misunderstands. When they say the word simulation, it doesn't mean like a VR simulation. It means the whole thing was staged. Yeah. Like Ocelot and all that set it up. It's still a real life event. Things still happened. It's just, it really makes you try and think if it did happen or not. I'm telling you, it did. Yeah. Matt, it happened.
Why is that?
It just did.
Okay, well, we'll save that for our playthrough of it.
Yeah, we will. Spoilers, we're playing MGS2 at some point.
All of them, actually, the whole series.
But everyone was saying it's going to be Solid Snake again. And then other people were like, no, maybe it's the original, like the Big Boss, which makes sense. But then, I don't know. It makes sense that they wanted to replace Hayter on that, and then later on wanted to replace him again. They just didn't handle it great. That's the only thing I could say. And like, I don't want people to think I'm like, "Ooh, Kojima's the best," because I love Kojima, but it's just, it's probably not what he intended. It's just the way it turned out. It's not like he was like, "I hate David Hayter, I want to get rid of him, I've been trying to get rid of him for years." It's just, we kind of need a different person. And then they did it wrong and like didn't call him about it when they did MGS5. Yeah. That's just what I think about it. What about you?
Well, like, it's a pretty damn big game, and they would have had a lot on their plate. So if they didn't go, "Oh, we forgot to call back one guy." Also,
we don't know how far back the whole like infighting goes between Kojima and Konami, because it could have been the whole time they were having these disputes, and like this is just the breaking point. So it's like maybe that was going on at the time. I don't know. It's hard to make comment on when you're not in the situation. When there's other people that are in the situation. But
well, all I can say about it is it's fair enough that he's angry, because Hayter's gonna hate.
How long have you been keeping that in your pocket for?
For a while.
In this pocket?
Yeah,
there's no pocket there.
There's no pocket there.
I wish there was, but there wasn't.
Put your hand in my shirt if you want.
I think that's about the extent of what we can say about David Hayter. He's a good voice actor, but if you listen to him in MGS4, he killed his voice for that, which made sense though because Old Snake was like sick, so and like vastly aging without being the actual age.
Drank whiskey a lot.
I think he did, and he really strained his vocals for it. But he sounds a bit better now. But when they recorded Peace Walker, which by the way, MGS4 came out either 2007 or 2008. I think it was 2008 early. It came out. Peace Walker came out 2010, and he did the voice for Big Boss again.
Yeah.
But the timelines are right. So Old Snake would be about 50 or 60 when he's advanced aging.
Yeah.
Back in Peace Walker, Big Boss was only about 35, maybe, I think. Somewhere around there. So for him to be doing the exact same... Like, he did the exact same Old Snake voice for Big Boss, where it's all like, I'm Snake.
Yeah.
That's not how it sounds, but you get what I mean. It's just... It did not work. Oh, man. Playing Peace Walker is not very fun for me anymore.
No.
Like, I can play it, and it's like, this is just a toned-down version of MGS5. Like, all the maps are small, and it's just... And the controls are all wonky as well because it was PSP originally, and then they ported it to PS3, and the graphics aren't very good, and just so much that I don't like about that game.
So you can complain about it on the show.
It's also they made it out to be the missing link in Big Boss's story after Portable Ops was meant to be the missing link, and then they were like, we want to add more to it, and then they did the same again. MGS5 was meant to be completing it, and it was like MGS5 was just the game they should have made in the first place. No Peace Walker in between. Like they should have made Peace Walker and Ground Zeroes one thing, and that would have been cool. I just realized we could even get into the whole thing with Ground Zeroes being separate, but I think we talked about that a bit before, maybe. So I don't know.
Can't remember.
We'll probably skip over that for now. But yeah, it just really made sense in general to replace Hayter.
Yeah.
Although, did you ever see there's a fan-made version of the original Metal Gear coming out, a 3D fan-made remake?
Yeah, and they got told to shut it down, didn't they?
But Hayter was going to do the voice of Snake. Actually, no, I think at first he was doing Snake, and then he had the placeholder voice for Big Boss, and they got someone else to do Big Boss in like a layer trailer. But he did a pretty good Snake, like a young Snake again in that trailer. So he can still do the voice, but it's just he can't do both. I don't want him doing both.
Well, if he wants to come do voices on our show,
if we could have David Hayter on the show, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Like I know I just said Kojima's not that bad, but I'll rip on him if you want, and then you can be on the show and rip on him.
David will absolutely take your side.
Actually, David Hayter doesn't seem like the type to just rip on someone like that.
No.
He seems really like fair about it still, even though he's like really resentful.
Yeah, that's okay.
Oh well, he'll be right. He'll write another X-Men movie.
Yeah,
He wrote X-Men 1 and 2. I think he did the script.
That's easy.
Yeah, he's a script writer before.
They were good ones.
He was a voice actor, I'm pretty sure, or maybe the same time. I don't know.
Would have been the same time, wouldn't it?
Maybe. When did the first X-Men come out?
I didn't pay attention.
By the way, whatever. His career's still fine. It's not like he's ruined now.
Yeah.
Everyone made out that he was ruined after that. They're like, he's not a voice actor for Snake anymore. His career's over. It's like he does other things.
He has voice acting chops.
I want to see that MacGyver. No, what was it? What was the movie called? There's some movie he was in, something Dark Hero, and I want to see it because he's supposed to be really good in it. And I think that's the only one of the only acting gigs he's ever had. So I'd like to see that. Also, like his acting role at the start of MGS4 when he plays himself on the news thing.
Yeah,
so tough. But anyway, that's about all we have to say about David Hayter. Unless he wants to come on our show, and then we can say lots about David Hayter.
Oh yeah.
Another topic I've got is indie games. We're coming back around to indie games. What was it, the first podcast? We talked about the price of indie games and people trying to decide whether the indie games are too expensive. Well, now we're trying to talk about whether people want to decide if they can make their minds up about how games are, and if they don't think the games are good, they can just rip on them.
Yeah.
So, it all starts with, not all of it, but the main story starts with Phil Fish and Jim Sterling. I'll get to the Jim Sterling part first. If you don't know who Jim Sterling is, he makes YouTube videos where he just rips on terrible games. I think he calls it the Jimquisition or something. We should really ask Ross about him because Ross knows lots about him. But he worked for some company, and then after that he just went independent and made his own YouTube stuff.
Yeah. And
yeah, he just makes his living making fun of video games. And quite recently, I think it's since 2014, he's been making fun of like every game that this company called Digital Homicide puts out. Like, I think it was Slaughtering Grounds was the first one, and he just destroyed it. Like, tears were shed.
Yeah.
People were not happy at Digital Homicide about it. But apparently he makes fun of every game they make to the point where they're like, he's just making money of like shitting over everything we have. Yeah. And so they decided they're going to sue him for like defamation and all that sort of stuff. And like, I guess, for making money off of being cruel to him.
Yeah.
Or being cruel to them, sorry. What was it? Yeah, the Slaughtering Grounds was they made. The first game, I think. But, another thing that happened... You played Fez?
Yeah.
Did you love Fez?
Yeah, it was pretty
It
awesome.
was pretty damn good. So I don't know where all the hate came for Fez, but somewhere along the line, Phil Fish was copying hate. I think it's because of how he was on Twitter. He was a bit of a tool.
Yeah.
People would ask him stuff like, "Are you going to make a Fez 2?" And he'd reply with, "If you want a Fez 2, suck my dick."
That's really all it would take? He didn't want money for it? Or?
I really don't know. He was a massive tool,
Yeah,
and so he copped a lot of hate for it. And then a lot of people would go back and be like, "Oh, Fez wasn't even that good," and
Yeah.
it led to the point where after all he like responded negatively and all that sort of stuff and was like a massive tool. He just got to the point where he was like, "There's gonna be no Fez 2," and then not long after that, he's like, "I'm quitting video game development for good."
Yeah.
Because he was just like, I can't handle like the press hate and all that sort of stuff, and
Don't
it's
be
like
a dingus then.
yeah, I know, that's what I was like.
Pretty simple fix.
Yeah, just be nice to people that bought your game and want to know if you're making another one. Like, come on, man,
Hey man,
what are you doing?
really loved your stuff. Yeah, up yours.
Yeah, suck my dick. How'd that sound? It's like, oh, sorry, Phil Fish. I'm so sorry. Oh, but yeah.
Having said that, if you want to come on the show,
yeah, Phil Fish, you
we'll
want to come
turn
on
on
the
your
show.
fans as well. It's
If,
okay.
if you want to come on the show and give your point of view, because I don't,
Yeah,
I just
that'd
have my
actually
point
be
of
good.
view. I don't know exactly what happened.
That
I
would
don't
be
know.
good.
Maybe people were dicks to you, and you just responded with like,
In kind.
yeah, it's like, an eye for an eye. I don't know, but yeah. So it seems to me there's a trend where it's like indie games. Well, I guess people make fun of any game really, but I think it's because indie games are more personal
Yeah.
that it has more of an impact on the people making it.
Yeah.
Because like that whole thing with Brigador as well, and like Firewatch that we talked about, where they're like, we've poured our lives into this, and for you to tell us it's not good, it's like, well, we've just wasted time and energy that we could have been like spending with our families just to make you this game. It's like, can't you just be a bit nicer?
Yeah.
I don't know, because if you think about it, like Kojima is getting a lot of hate because of the whole thing with MGS4. That's probably going to show up on the audio. I'm not going to do that anymore. He's getting a lot of hate, and it's like he probably doesn't care that much because it's like a whole team and stuff, and it's like a big budget game,
Yeah.
and they probably still made like lots of money off of it anyway. Having said that, he probably does care a lot because he's like dedicated to his fans.
Yeah,
but
I'd still.
it wouldn't
definitely,
it wouldn't affect him as much because
financially.
he's made other games. He's
It
confident.
wouldn't
in his-
discourage him as much.
He's confident in himself, so he's like, whatever,
Yeah.
and then goes home and cries. But like, yeah, it's just when it's an indie game, I feel like it's a lot more personal for them. So when people just like tear it apart,
Yeah.
it's not very good for them. It's not nice. But having said that, have you seen any of the games that are on Steam Greenlight?
Not really.
So the way Steam Greenlight works is you can put forward like a trailer for your game and like what the general
Yeah.
gist of it is, and people can vote over whether they would purchase it or not. And if you get like a massive number of votes saying yes, then Steam's like, all right, we'll help you publish a game on Steam. And like you go through the whole process and they sell it for you and you get like a cut of the profits. I think Brigador was on Greenlight originally, and now it's an early access game on Steam.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is someone could put up their game and they could be like, people, go vote yes on this game. And like so many people could go and vote yes, and then the game is just not even like any effort put into it. It's like Game Maker, and they made it in like 30 minutes while sitting at home in their boxes.
Yeah.
And it's like there's no regard for like dedication to fans or anything. They're just like, I'm just gonna make a game and like try and make money off it. It's like people have to pay money on that on Steam for that now. It's like that's not really a good system sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you can inflate votes on there and stuff. Like you can get like extra accounts and do it. So it's just like, I don't think you need an account actually. You might be able to just do it on the website.
Yeah.
I think you might be able to. That's kind of balls. I feel like those sort of games. Like, have you seen Air Control?
No.
It's like an air traffic control simulation game, or like a pilot. Oh, no, not pilot simulation because you don't pilot the plane. But it's just like an all-round, like sort of like air control simulation, like you do like the stewardessing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Markiplier played it, so if you want to see it, look it up on Markiplier.
Yeah.
It is so bad. Oh, like it's just broken, and like you can tell they didn't put in any effort, and the English is bad. And you're like, they clearly made it bad on purpose, and yet they're making money off their crappy effort.
Yeah.
Like, even though they did it deliberately, I'm still like, oh, such little effort. Like, if someone like the Firewatch developers spent all their time making their game and it gets a bad reception, and then this guy was like, I'm going to make fun of stupid games, and like everybody loves it. It's like, oh, I feel really bad about that.
Yeah.
But then, I love Firewatch, so I don't really feel too bad about it. And I don't really like air traffic control. It just made me laugh a lot. But yeah, I don't know. Any other thoughts on like indie people getting targeted?
Like just that dude you were talking about before that just like ripped into that company.
Jim Sterling.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it can't. I don't know. It goes back to that whole thing of like, they had a creative vision.
Yeah.
That they were trying to execute, and they did it, and they were happy with it. And it just some people didn't like it, and like it's fair enough. Like it's a review, if he has a review channel, but like if you can't find something to like in something, you're not really trying hard enough. Yes, that's a Kevin Smith.
Yeah, that's right. What's that on? What was it? Fat Man on Batman or whatever.
Yeah, which is awesome. Go check them out.
Yeah, I mean,
still,
that was the thing you were saying. That was like my reasoning, where I could find something to like and everything.
But it's like it kind of reminds me of like H3 and Leafy is here and those sorts of channels, but like aimed at just one thing.
Yeah,
because like those guys like rip on like people that are doing ridiculous stuff. Or
yeah, like sort of like the Marcus Dibble thing, where
Yeah.
he just sort of like targets.
Yeah, but
idiots on the
it's
internet.
not just like ripping apart
But-
and trying to destroy one like company, one
Yeah,
group.
I should look up some of their stuff because maybe we got it wrong. Maybe their stuff is just terrible, but from what I can tell, it's just video games, and they like that. Like it wasn't something they did little effort on. Like I was just saying before, it's something they actually liked and like presented more like, we
Yeah.
hope this is good, and then they got in trouble for it. So I don't know. I'll do some little investigating now. Did you have more thoughts to that?
Not really. I think you pretty much covered all the grounds.
Let me just see. What's the sort of reviews that Digital Homicide's game got in other places? Oh well, it was criticised for poor graphics glitches, controls, short music loops, and use of pre-made models and textures not made by the developer. So I can kind of understand that, but I don't know. Again, I'm not personally involved in the situation.
Was that their first game?
Maybe. Let's click here. Digital Homicide Studios. It just takes me back to this page.
Sick.
I don't know what else they did. I swear there's other stuff they did. I see, because Digital Homicide Studios mix pack. So obviously they had more stuff.
Yeah. Because if that was their first game, then like...
It's sort of more understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't understand what I'm looking at.
Well, it says on their website, games made with love, so...
Yeah, the extra large testicle.
Okay.
I'm sort of getting a general idea of what they're about here. Yeah, I still don't really know where I fall on it. Like, when Ross was telling me about Jim Sterling and what he does, just straight away I was like, it doesn't seem like my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Like,
And I like tea.
He just makes content out of him being loud and rude and obnoxious, and I was like, that doesn't seem like what I'd like.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy Marcus Dibble because he's loud and rude to the people that you need to be loud and rude to.
Yeah.
Oh, while we're on Marcus Dibble, did you see that post he put out where people were having a go at him, saying he was bullying and all that sort of stuff?
Mm.
He responded with, like, because he doesn't usually do these big, long, like, TLDR feels posts, but he did because he was like, I try and laugh off stuff like that when people say my videos are shit because I'm just having a go at other people, but it still, like, really gets to him because he's like, it's something I made and I thought people would like. But then there's something else he said about how most of the people he's had a go at have actually turned their lives around and done different stuff, like seeing the error of their ways. Like, I think Percy Inglis, Percy Inglis's page is so much different now to what it was before. Like, he just had like a bunch of like clickbaiting sort of things and like shit posting and just not very good stuff. But now it's like actually stuff where he's like, you know what, do something good with your time. And like, I don't know, I need to look at it again because I remember going on there and be like, he's so much different now. But I can't remember what he actually posted, so I don't know. But there was a lot of people that I saw commenting that thought the same thing. They're like, we used to like rip on you, and now seeing your stuff, we're like, oh, well done.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like is that he did that thing with Fortify, where they made that game that's just Snake,
Yeah.
and now they make money off of it. I'm like,
That was
oh.
silly.
What's that other Fortify game that we didn't like?
Colour change or something.
And it's so much like all these other colour switch themed games on
yeah, it was
the
Colour
Play
Switch.
Store.
Yeah.
It's just- I don't know how to feel about Fortify.
Silly duffer.
Like, he's supposed to be an official rapper, but all he does is post on Facebook and get revenue from that. So I'm kind of like, what are you doing, man? I don't know. I'm sick of waiting for this to load. I don't know what it's doing. We can just move on from Digital Homicide.
Yeah, it's okay.
But
If any of you guys want to come on the show,
it's just, I don't... The fact of the matter is, we're not involved in the situation. Neither is Jim Sterling. He doesn't know the ins and outs of like them doing the development process, and yet he still chooses to be like, I'm just going to tear it apart for my own personal gain. I'm like I said, when Ross described it to me, I was like, not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch that guy on YouTube. What was the other thing that there was a big thing about with Jim Sterling? Oh, the Fallout thing. He was like the only person that gave Fallout like a mediocre review. Like, everyone else gave it rave reviews. Ross was telling me about this because this is when he stopped liking the patch on Rooster Teeth. Because after that, they did this show where they were just talking about Fallout, and they were wearing Fallout stuff and had all Fallout merchandise all over the place. It made them seem like huge fanboys, and they just had a massive go at Jim Sterling, and so Ross doesn't like him now because of that. But I was like, that just seems to be taking the mickey out of the sort of videos that Jim Sterling does.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know how to feel about that either. I really do not know. But I find it weird that Ross would hate them for that one thing. Ross, if you want to be on the show and talk about it. Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm like, you're not personally involved in the situation, so you can't always make a full, like, justifiable assessment of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I usually like all the stuff Rooster Teeth does, so it doesn't really bother me too much. They did one thing that was like questionable, but we should move on from that now. I think we've pretty much said all there is to say.
Yeah. What's next?
Well, next we can talk about some of these dot points I've got here.
I love dot points.
So this has come back around to Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Apparently we finally have a title for the movie. It's not a confirmed title. It's just what stuff that's been getting trademarked. So let me just. They spotted the recently registered URL Spider-Man Homecoming, the movie. And apparently there was an 80s comic book run called Homecoming that had like Captain America and Iron Man on it. And that would make sense just after Civil War.
Yeah.
For them to be like a Homecoming focused like storyline arc.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Because they're bypassing the origin story this time because everybody knows it.
Good idea.
Yeah. It's like, if you don't know the Spider-Man origin story by now, what have you been doing for the past like decade? It's been told twice now in movies. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Get it together. I want to look up what the Homecoming storyline arc is because I'd be interested to know what that's all about.
Yeah.
I'll do it now. Why not? Just why not? What's stopping us?
I can't remember if we talked about the Spider-Man costume in the last one. I think we did a little bit. I'm still hearing people go, "Oh, I'm not really sold
Maybe.
on
that possible title reveal. That's what I was just reading.
Yeah.
Everything's about the film now. What about the comic? I want to read about the comic.
People are like still not sure about how they feel about the new costume.
I liked.
And I'm like, it's pretty much the same. It's just like the eye thing that's different, which is how it is in the comic books anyway, basically. So
Probably because are you still recording?
yeah, but feel free to
It's probably because there's the original one with that dude, not the hot one, the other guy.
Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, that dude. And then they changed it with Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
So people got used to that, and like at first they were like, "Oh, I don't like it," so they got used to that, and then now they're changing it again. So people are like.
But mainly, they talk about how they're not sure about the costume, like because it's basically the same costume as like the original one almost.
Almost the same as the Tobey Maguire one.
Yeah, the only real difference is the eye thing, but the eye thing is truer to the comics because he can actually have like facial expressions now, and his suit in the comics was designed by Tony Stark, so it has like all this robotic junk in it and whatever.
And it makes sense because he's sort of aligned with Tony Stark to begin with in Civil War, so it makes sense that Tony Stark would help him with
so
his
it completely
outfit.
fits in if you know all that stuff, but I guess a lot of people don't. So
I can't find anything on the Homecoming comic, but other titles that there could be for the 2017 Spider-Man solo movie: Spectacular Spider-Man and Spider-Man: The New Avenger.
Okay.
I think I like.
I wouldn't mind the New Avenger if they were gonna like kick off most of the other Avengers.
Yeah, I do like that.
Because this is gonna be, was it next year?
Yeah, 2017 for Spider-Man solo film.
I don't know how long the Avengers are gonna go for in the films.
I feel like they're getting ready to like change the casting up.
Yeah, which this would be a good place for it.
It really makes sense. Like the problem is, Oh, it's so hard because in the films they get you committed to these characters, and in the comics they're like interchanging characters on the Avengers lineup.
Yeah.
So it's hard for them to put that, like, translate that into film. But I feel like it could be getting to the point where they're ready to change the lineup a bit.
Yeah.
And like mix it up.
Well, like, do you remember like everything that happened in like any of the second movies of Iron Man, Captain America, or Thor?
Thor. Thor sort of, because it's sort of similar to Avengers. But I also didn't really watch Thor 2. I still have not seen Captain America 2, but I wanted to because everyone said it was very good. It crushed you, by the way, is what happened there, Sarah. I haven't seen Captain America 2. Was it Winter Soldier?
Yeah.
I don't know why my brain was saying the second soldier, and that didn't make sense to me. Iron Man 2 I remember pretty well.
Yeah. But the point is, like, you remember the first one's much better, right?
Yeah. No, sort of the same.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I remember the first one's way better, and like, I think for the most part people do, because I'm pretty sure they were newer.
I don't know. I guess I got a good memory for those sorts of things. So
they're sort of dying out a little bit. Like, if they just keep going with like these individual titles,
Yeah,
it's going to get less and less popular.
And I feel like they could. Well, there's a whole like comic book universe of storylines they could adapt, but I feel like the stuff that they could make interesting on screen could be running out.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to sort of shift focus to a new team where they can like expand their stories instead.
Oh, dude, I'm pretty sure the guy that is doing the new Spider-Man movie is actually like the head of Marvel, pretty much.
The dude that's like working with them.
Yeah, that is like directing it or whatever.
Oh, directing it. Let's have a look. John
Something like
Watts is the director.
Is he?
Yeah, I don't know. I know
Watts,
that Kevin Feige or
Feige.
He's like the most massive Marvel fan ever, and he's like their CEO now. And he's like, anytime they make a movie, he's directly involved in it. Yeah, it just says he directed films Clown and Cop Car, and now he's doing the Spider-Man.
Maybe it was Kevin.
film.
Oh no, it is that dude. I don't know. One of the dudes.
Kevin Feige will be directly involved. He always is, and it always turns out good when he is.
Yeah. I'm keen to see what he does.
I want to make a brief detour here. Oh, actually no. I'll talk to you about this afterwards because it's more Batman versus Superman spoilers.
Okay.
We don't really want another spoiler segment. We'll just talk about this afterwards. Yeah, I'm keen for a new Spider-Man to start with Marvel's help.
I'm keen for this one because he looks like he could do both parts very well.
Yes, Tobey Maguire was good at being Peter Parker, but not Spider-Man. And then Andrew Garfield was the other way around. You didn't really like Andrew Garfield at all, though, did you?
Nah.
Sarah's giving him a dirty look. You just like him because he's pretty.
Yeah.
No, I liked him, but yeah, I really want to see someone that can do both parts of the character.
Yeah.
That's what's important. That's why Ben Affleck as Batman was so good, because he could do both parts of the character.
Oh yeah.
Whereas people like Christian Bale couldn't.
Yeah.
Christian Bale was good at being Batman, but not Bruce Wayne. And then George Clooney was good at Bruce Wayne, not Batman.
Yeah.
It's just it's the same
nips.
thing. Oh, bat nips, so good. Love the bat nips. But it's just sort of getting off topic again anyway. That's about it for Spider-Man. We have some movie titles that are possible. If you like, comment which one you prefer. Do you prefer Spider-Man Homecoming? Or would you just like a Homecoming story arc? Or do you like First or New Avenger? I almost said First Avenger, that's Captain America. Do you like New Avenger or Spectacular Spider-Man?
Hey Spider-Man, if you want to come on the show, tell us what you think.
Oh, yeah, anyway. Moving on. More DC news. Hey, Matt, are you interested in Suicide Squad?
No, hate it.
Oh, really?
No, I'm kidding.
I'm liking the look of it.
Everyone was like, this is going to be so interesting because this one person hates it.
I think everybody's going to love Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
but,
probably.
Okay, so we've had Deadpool come out this year. Guardians of the Galaxy was not last year, it was the year before. But there's been a trend of having funny, sort of humorous superhero movies.
Yeah.
Deadpool was the most, that was pretty much always humour.
So good.
Like, you look at Guardians of the Galaxy, there was funny, and then there was parts where it got serious,
yeah.
When they have to grab this... Oh, sort of spoilers.
It's okay, you don't... I have seen the movie.
No, but I mean, spoilers for people that are listening.
No, I'm saying you don't have to say it because I have seen the movie.
At the end when there's...
Yes, I know.
But there's still humour in that scene.
Yeah.
Even though it's a serious part. But for the most part, they did a good balance between humour and funny. But then Deadpool was just pretty much funny all the time.
Although there was that super sad
We shouldn't
bit in
talk
Deadpool.
about Deadpool spoilers either because it's recent and
No.
Sarah has not seen it.
There was that one super sad bit in Deadpool.
I'm trying to remember.
I'll tell you.
Oh, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. There was a bit of a sad part, but it got less
I
sad.
thought Sarah was gonna cry just now.
Sarah hasn't even seen it. She's already
sad
cried.
parts.
But for the most part, Deadpool was just funny and just humorous. And so apparently, this is not even confirmed yet. This is just rumor mill. Apparently, they're going to do
It's what?
the rumor mill.
Ah,
What do you think I said?
I didn't know. I thought this is like broom mill or something. Like, what?
Thought I flobbed my words. No, the rumor mill is that they're doing reshoots for Suicide Squad because it's not funny enough.
Yeah.
So Batman vs Superman launched, and it's pretty dark and like not really humorous. They're sort of like pensive, reflective protagonists that don't really care about much.
Yeah.
And it's not a very happy film, but it's not meant to be a happy film. And neither is Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
I think Suicide Squad's meant to be funny for its own reasons because they're all psychotic, but it's not meant to be like laughs all the time. It's a bunch of villains in a serious situation.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if they're doing the whole storyline with yeah, cool, Lily. I wonder if they're using the same characters from the Suicide Squad stuff in the actual comics, but it's just the government like rounds them up and uses them as like expendable tools, and it's like that's not meant to be funny. So I don't know why. Apparently Warner Brothers wants to do reshoots because they want it to be funnier.
Yeah.
I don't know. Your thoughts on the matter?
I don't think it needs to be funny. Because
if you look at stuff like Avengers and stuff, they have like their quips, but those are not funny movies. But they still
DC's
do
doing
well.
gritty very well.
Yeah,
I think they could stick to that.
gritty superheroes is a thing now. Like Daredevil is gritty.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones is pretty gritty. Like she was an alcoholic and all kinds of crap like that. And it's like that was
So these guys
Not
are
funny.
like homicidal maniacs that are like all really screwed up, pretty much. So, like, there's obviously going to be some humor in there as we've seen in the trailers and that. But it
like that
doesn't-
part
it
with
shouldn't-
Harley Quinn being like,
Yeah,
"What's that? You want me to kill everyone?" It's like, and everyone's like, "What the hell, man?"
yeah.
That's humorous, but
it doesn't need to focus on that.
yeah, I don't think Suicide Squad needs to be a hour and a half,
The-
2 hour and a
yeah.
half laugh track.
So the thing, the guys that like did Deadpool, right? They put out a thing like just after it became like ridiculously successful, and they were like, "This is like should start a new trend for superhero movies, not to copy Deadpool, but to be able to just go, oh, we can do our own thing, and people will like it. People will enjoy it for what it is." So I feel like them trying to be like Deadpool completely just like negates that.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't do that if that's what their intention was.
Yeah, I feel like they're sort of undoing all the work. Like, this movie's still due to come out in August if they are doing reshoots. And it's like, so you're going to push production so quickly to get it out for August, or you're going to delay it? And it's like, you're going to delay it, and then people are going to be, like, waiting even longer, and they're going to lose interest in the film. Like, stuff that took forever to come out, people lose interest in. Like, Duke Nukem, when that was in development hell for, like, 12 years, people lost interest. And then what came out? What came out was still a pretty fun game. It made me laugh a bit.
Yeah.
But because it was so long, people did not like it. That's why, like, if it come out, like, 2 years after they originally planned to do it, then it would have been alright. But when you...
That's why Fallout had the right idea. They were just like, oh, we're done. Okay.
And that's also where, like, some games, like Uncharted's been delayed 2 or 3 times now, but it's still close enough to its original release date that people are not losing interest.
Yeah.
I feel like the more you start to push something back, the more it's like, you're losing interest, people aren't going to be waiting around for this forever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a really hard thing to talk about because, like, again, if they want it to be funnier, they can totally do that. I wouldn't be very happy if they do make it funnier.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of keen for a Suicide Squad where you laugh at it because you're like, what the hell? This is so messed up.
Yeah, they could go for that humor pretty easy.
Yeah. I really hope they don't reshoot it.
You know.
But, any hoodles. Moving on again, because that was a very short topic. We said what we wanted to say. Shadow of Mordor. So, man, did you play Shadow of Mordor? What did you think of it?
Yeah, it was a good game. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Oh, it is a very good game. I kind of want to go back and play it, because I always wanted to platinum it. And also, you can replay it, like, forever, because of the Nemesis mode. For those people that don't know, when you play that game, you're meant to turn Sauron's army over to your side. I can't remember the word for it. There's a word for it in-game.
I just thought of it too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember what it was, but
assimilate?
No,
sort of?
that's not it's a similar word to that, but that's not the word they use in the game. Whatever, you have a wraith hand and you press it on their face. That's going to sound sweet. You press it on their face and it brands them and they become yours. And you can, like, order them to do stuff, like to, like, do death threats to other people or, like, to get you information, all that sort of thing. And it makes it really interesting. Yeah. And But whenever you kill off orcs, if you go to the fast travel menu, like on the map, you can go to a fast travel location and hit pass time.
Yeah.
And it makes time pass, and like the army refreshes and gets more people. Actually, I just realized we should probably round this up soon.
Yeah.
Because we're getting a bit... Anyway, yeah, it just refreshes the army, adds more people, so you can... And it adds them with new traits.
Yeah.
Like, you can, like, question people to find out traits about the enemies you're going to be attacking.
Correct.
Huh?
Correct, yes.
Yes, that is correct. And you can find out, like, what their weaknesses are and exploit that. And that's really cool. Ugh. But, yeah, they're making a second one.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what's on the rumour mill as well. This chick who is putting... This happens all the time. You know LinkedIn, where people put their resumes up and, like, it goes out there. People keep putting their resumes up and putting in games that haven't been announced yet, if they were working on it. So this chick they worked on Recore E3 trailer. No idea what that is. Call of Duty, they did stunts and acting. Mafia 3, they did stunts and acting. And then Shadow of Mordor 2. They put it on their resume that they did stunts and acting. What's her name? Lauren Mary Kim. Sorry about that, Lauren, but everyone knows it was you now.
But if you want to come on the show.
Oh, here we go. She said that the listing was an error, chalking up to a mistake in the website's database. So this distanced her from the project. Maybe she meant to put in Shadow of Mordor 1 and it auto-corrected it because of the database. But while that puts her away from the project in the beginning, that means somewhere in the database exists Shadow of Mordor 2. Yeah. So somebody's put it in there somewhere. So it makes sense they're making a Shadow of Mordor 2, because Lord of the Rings hasn't had a really good franchise game in a while. Like, they had the movie games that they made.
About War in the North.
And that was about it. Don't even get me started on War of the North. Remember when Jake played that one time? Yeah, and those damn chains. Oh, it drove me mental. Not many things drive me crazy, but that did. Like, I can get mad at things or, like, get frustrated, but that literally drove me crazy because it was so loud. And then it would get quiet, and you're like, why is it quiet? I'm standing right next to him, and then it would get loud again. And you're just like, stop the noises! Yeah. Oh, that game sucks. But I kind of want to go back and play it. But I would be keen to play a Shadow of Mordor 2, because Shadow of Mordor was the hypest.
That's pretty good.
I remember when that was coming out, and everyone was like, oh, this game's probably not going to be good. And then other people were like, no, it's going to be very good. And then it was very good.
Yeah.
I remember Jake was the most excited for that in the first place, because he saw it before the rest of us and was like, Shadow of Mordor 2 looks really sick. But yeah, the second one would be great. Yeah, I'd play it. Sure. I'd play it. We'd play it on the channel. Whatever. We might save Overwatch and Battleborn for next time, I guess.
Alright.
We were going to talk about which game we were preferring at the moment, because we had a lot of stuff to say about it, but we're sort of running out of time, so we'll just skip it for now. Not much else to talk about. Basically, in Hitman, you can vote now for who you want to be like a special target. You can vote for Gary Busey or Gary Cole, and whoever gets the most votes will be a special target in the game.
That's going to be his
They got a lot of flack at one point when they did advertising for Absolution, because it was a thing where you could send an assassination order to one of your friends, like for themselves, and people got really freaked out because like, you can't do this. You can't make death threats like that, even if it's like a marketing thing. And I was like, I can't understand that. Yeah. And I was like, but come on, it's all in good fun.
Yeah.
But now they're doing, I guess Gary Busey and Gary Cole are like, oh, whatever, we don't care. Yeah. We'll be a part of it. So that'll be pretty funny. I hope it's going to be Gary Busey.
I'd rather Gary Cole, not because I want to kill him, but because I'd rather hang out with him in a game.
Do you know Gary Cole that well? Like as an actor?
More than Gary Busey.
I know Gary Cole from Chuck. That's about it. I can't remember anything else he was in. But I just want to kill Gary Busey because look at his stupid face.
Wow.
Gary Busey, if you want to be on the show.
Yeah.
Were you about to say that?
Yeah.
Nice.
Vote now for who you want on the show.
Yeah, I'm going to go investigate that and vote for it. Speaking of Hitman...
For who wants to be on... Who do you want to be on the show?
Gary Busey or Gary Cole.
Yeah. Whichever Gary wins, the loser Gary can come on the show.
Hitman is also coming out with a new episode, April 26th. So we're going to record more for that.
April Fools.
You people will enjoy that. No, April Fools is past. No. We could have talked about April Fools on this as well, but whatever. That about does it for our podcast. I just threw my book.
Thanks for tuning out, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to our ramblings, because we sort of don't.
That's
really.
why I said tuning out, so people could just play it in the background.
No, people will tune in. People listen very intently to us, just sort of being like, And
then screams and stuff. Very much enjoy making content for you guys. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Like, favorite, comment, subscribe, share, all those.
I hope you guys are enjoying Sarah getting angry in the background and the rabble.
Just hear those like really hard button presses.
I feel like she's just going to explode once we finish. So I'm really.
See you
Once
soon,
we finish the
guys.
podcast, Matt.
See you soon, guys.
Oh, bye, guys.
Bye.